we are going to, there we go, provide you with general overview of the business opportunity. So we're going to look into real incomes. So we're going to talk about the income potential, and then we will briefly cover what network marketing really is, how it works, why Young Living might be a good fit for you guys. Like, you already love the products, and I think I just posted on my Facebook, like the opportunity legitimately impacted my family's life as much as the product. So why wouldn't we, why do we keep this a secret, right? So we want to make sure that we share this with everybody. So one thing that we want to just the message that we want to give you guys is, don't get overwhelmed at the end of this, because you are, while Young Living, you're in business for yourself, but you're not in business by yourself. We will lock arms with you if this is something that you choose to do. Okay. So we want to start with our story. So I'm Susan Richardson. You all know that. I am your upline diamond, and Carrie Brooks is going to be co-leading with me tonight. She is our upline gold. And Carrie and I legitimately started, we actually met, 23? 21?
Probably 19, because the twins are 21, and I think they were 2 when they started at the preschool.
So a really long time, AKA. So our children went to preschool together, if that tells you how long we've been friends. So we actually fell apart after our kids kind of went on to their own middle school or elementary schools. And then we bumped back into each other on Facebook, I think, several years later, and quickly restored the friendship. So we were sitting in a food bank, legitimately every Saturday morning, 5 a.m., Carrie?
5 a.m.
And we were robbing Peter to pay Paul. We always joke the $20. You want to tell them about the $20? It's kind of funny.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carrie. Susan and I had sort of dual track similarities in our life path, and then, some differences as well. But we were both just living paycheck to paycheck, right on the edge of literally one $500 emergency away from complete and total disaster. And so one of the things that we would do would be to go to the food bank, because that would save us, then we could keep the lights on. But we were always like $20 short for a bill. Luckily, it happened at different times of the month. So we would pass $20 back and forth and be like, hey, I need 20. Do you have $20 I can borrow till next week? Because I got to pay the light bill or they're going to turn it off. Hey, they're about to repossess my car. You got $20? Because we're always just short of what we needed. And I think once we started making some money in Young Living, Susan borrowed that $20 last, and she still owes me $20.
I'm like, I owe you $20. Is that what you're trying to say, Carrie? That's so funny. So while we were sitting in the food bank, it was when I found Young Living and started using the products with our family. And I would bring in my EODR and just kind of slide it over to Carrie and here, take a look. This is what we're doing. But then we started getting results, and I'm like, okay, Carrie, seriously, take a look. You really need to look into what I'm doing over here. I think it could help your kids as well. And then were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, at first, especially when you're first getting started, it's kind of hard to believe some of this stuff. So I had seen some changes that were happening at Susan's house, and I wanted those at my house as well. And so I told her, I'm like, okay, I will buy products from you. Don't you ever invite me to a meeting, ever.
True story.
I I had done Amway, and I had done Jafra, and I've done some Crystal Company, and I had done all the multi-level marketing, direct sales things that I wanted to do in my life. And I told her she could not invite me to a class.
So you guys see how well that worked, right?
So
I think a year into us using the product with both of our families, it was actually Jim who we were sitting down and we were talking about how our finances were tough. And you guys know that we have an autism family, and we were at the point where I had to go back to work, but I didn't know how I was going to go back to work because of the demands that were specific in our home with our kids. So it was actually Jim who said, why don't you make this Young Living thing work? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? He's like, well, you already shared organically with your friends because you love the product. He goes, you already know what network marketing is. He goes, if you could make this work, he's like, you could just stay home with the kids. So needless to say, that was almost 11 years ago, and we're still running. So Carrie and I ended up locking arms soon after that conversation with Jim, and she did attend a class at her house that she hosted.
I even hosted a couple.
You did. And we've grown together over the past, several years, and have really, Carrie's a gold now in the company, and I'm diamond. And to look back where we were is pretty astounding, considering, like, Carrie, do you remember we even used to like trade food out of the back of your truck, out the trunk? It was bad, guys.
No, I volunteered to go do the pickups from the grocery stores for the food pantry, because she said I could take anything I wanted before I delivered it to them. And so Susan and I would come and shop at the back of the car, like, what do you need this week? And that way we didn't have to go 5 a.m. in the morning anymore. The desperation of those times still kind of haunts me. That close to the edge is just not a place for anyone to be.
Right. I agree with that. So we ended up, I would say probably a year into us consciously doing the business, we stopped going to the food pantry. It wasn't like it was immediate. Obviously, there's work that has to be done with Young Living that, to build your income to the point where you could let go of some of those resources. So tonight, we're going to talk about what the business model is with Young Living. So we're going to just dive into this because this is why you guys are really here. So Young Living is considered a network marketing company. And basically, all that means is when you sell a product through the company, you generate income for your efforts. So Young Living ends up paying you instead of marketing companies, right? And when somebody else under you shares with their friends and they enroll them, you make money from those sales as well, but also because we introduced you, we make a little bit of the commission as well. So it's networking. It's about sharing with our friends what we're doing, and just educating them on our stories and how we use the product. And then instead of Young Living pouring tons of money into the big advertising campaigns, they pass that money on to us. So then we become the living, we're walking the walk, and we're the walking billboards, if you will, the products of the product.
We are spokesmodels.
Yes. Okay, so Carrie, I can't see you.
The thing to think about is that normally you've got a manufacturer who manufactures a product, and then they sell it to a middleman or a warehouse, and then the retail stores buy from that middleman. What Young Living has decided to do is kind of share that money with average people who are using their products, who are kind of their middleman. So really what you get paid for is the volume of the goods that flow through the network that you create. So instead of having a brick and mortar store where you're storing thousands of dollars of inventory, they're keeping the inventory for you. And then as you build this network, the volume that flows through that network, you're getting a small piece of. And that small piece is a lot of money. We, as normal 9 to 5, cubicle farm workers or whatever we do for a living, all of that background information of how people like, the Waltons create these huge empires out of stores, you're never going to get a piece of that pie. But with the network marketing, you definitely are able to get a large piece of, or as big a piece of that pie as you want to take.
Right. And then while we're doing that, it allows a lot more flexibility than conventional jobs. Like I work it around my kids' needs. If my kid has an emergency at school, you guys, I can just stop and like go attend to what she needs. I'm not having to, Jim's working at home still, and he still has to sit in front of his computer, and every minute is still accounted for, right? I don't have that constraint on me. It's a lot more flexible. You get to work during the hours that work for you, basically. So you can legitimately work from your car, your phone, soccer practice. I've done it at the basketball games, parent pickup line, wherever you're at. And you get whatever you're willing to put into it. So it brings with it residual income, which I think Carrie wants to talk about a little bit.
I do. I'm very passionate about helping people create a financial future. Susan's very health oriented and helping people get healthy. I just get really passionate about helping you make money, because being healthy also costs money. You're either going to spend it at the doctor, or you're going to spend it doing the things that you need to do to be healthy. The concept of residual income is something that's not really taught in schools, but Warren Buffett has said that he would rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of his own. So what this business allows you to do is leverage your time. Once you have built that network and you've got people that are using the products, Dana, have I called you every month and said, what are you ordering? I think maybe you need some toothpaste. So no, I mean, once they are using products, you don't have to go back and resell them products. Once they're on a supplement, you don't have to go sell them another supplement. Once you have them in your business, you just got to educate and keep them. And we'll talk about the relationships later. But that residual income, after I had built my business to gold, I didn't have to monitor it every second. And when my dad was dying, he had dementia, and I wanted to spend as much time with him as I could before he forgot who I was. I didn't work maybe 5 hours a week during that time for probably 8 months. But because I had already built a business, my income didn't change. I still was getting paid on that volume that I created. So, and I took the slow boat to China. Susan built much faster than me, which is why she's so much further ahead. I took the slow route. I wish I'd gone faster, but I didn't. So, but that anytime you want to talk about residual income, the insurance industry, once you have an insurance policy, if they buy it again, you get a residual income stream for that. But what it means is once you've got it in place, it will continue to give you money. Unlike your job, which will not. If you don't show up, they don't pay you.
Right.
At least
Exactly.
not for very long.
Well, and I always say, you know, when is the time to start? It's before it's time. It's before you need it, right? Like
Yeah,
building
definitely.
it now before that emergency happens where you have to take time off. Because, you know, speaking of your dad, like when my mom passed away a couple of years ago, I was able to take 2 months off, and my business actually grew during those 2 months when I didn't show up. You know, and that's the power of network marketing, because everybody else is still doing their thing. Well, sometimes you need, because life happens, guys. It's not a perfect world, right? And you can step back and take that time to do what matters and not have to be constrained to that 9 to 5. So I think we want to talk next about some of the income potential. So I think you guys kind of understood where we were going with the other stuff. So we really want to, like, okay, Carrie, this does excite me. Just letting y'all know. This is one of the, this is the 2020 statistics. So this is the most recent one that Young Living has. 2021 has not been disclosed yet, but I'm telling you guys, these are real incomes. I know the people who are earning these average annual incomes, which is kind of mind-boggling if you think about it, because I had no idea that the numbers were really true until, one, I started meeting people who were at these ranks, and two, when those checks started coming into my bank account, like direct deposit, right? And then I realized this was legitimately like the best thing ever, just so y'all know. So, but it's not a walk in the park, right? Like to make, so what the average gold makes $52,000 and the average diamond makes $352,000 a year, right? That is like, that's real income. So it's not that we are not putting time and effort in, but we actually are. So like Carrie said, you know, I grew a lot faster than she did. I put a lot more time and effort in than what she was doing. Like she had different things going on than I did. And likewise, there's other people in the company who I went to Silver Retreat with who are RCDs now, right? So they've even put more effort in than I have. So your income ends up reflecting what you put into it. It far outweighs the hurdles of what you're doing, of what you encounter. And then, guys, look at the numbers. Like, so seriously, I'm like, just want to pause there for a minute. Right. Like, think about, you guys can put it in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, but like, what rank would be life-changing for you? Like, what's the lowest rank? Is it like the senior, even $1,500? Is that life-changing for you? Are they writing, Carrie?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're pausing. So we're not going to go in tonight specifically how you make money like this. We're going to talk a little bit about a few of the things, but we really wanted to give you guys an overview of what network marketing was, the income potential, and all the other things that this business model can offer to you guys.
Seems like silver is the most popular answer.
Okay.
I can tell you from where I was, executive was life-changing. I think executive was when I didn't have to go to the food pantry anymore. When we first started too, I couldn't even, I told Susan, I'm like, I can't even look at those upper numbers because they're not believable to me. I don't believe it. It just was mind-blowing. But the more that you build and the higher ranks that you get, it becomes more attainable. You can see it comes closer.
Well, and I think that's a good point, Carrie, because I think that no matter what rank you are, so even if you're just an associate, don't look at the diamond income, right? Because like it is daunting, like going from diamond to crown diamond's daunting. Just to say, so you just look at the next step up. The next step up is star, like, and then you get together with your sponsor or one of us, and we help you figure out how to just achieve star, right? once you get started and you're solid, then we're going to take it to the next step. But I think when you look at the big picture, it can be paralyzing because it can be paralyzing. It's hard to comprehend sometimes. And sometimes we get in our own ways when we're starting to think about those big numbers. Okay.
So one of the things that, money is great, but really people don't want money. Money is not what you want. What you really want is what money can get you or give you. And that is different for everybody. But some of the additional benefits of this type of business are what we're going to talk about next.
Right. So that first bullet is time freedom, which Carrie and I both already talked a little bit about, right? Like with our parents and when they were sick and passing away, time freedom was, you couldn't even put a dollar amount on that, right? That meant more to us at that time in our life than the paycheck. Mm-hmm. You can also work when you want and take off when you want. You can, work as, like, if you want to like build a RCD really fast, you can build the RCD really fast. But when it boils down to it, most people don't want to do that. Most people want to be able to leverage their time a little bit better, and they can take it a little bit slower and a little bit more, have a more direct approach to it rather than just running and sprinting, right? But it doesn't mean that we also just sit around and eat bonbons, which sometimes I think people think we do. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like, you're not going to earn that money if you're not working, right? Like, you have to put effort into it, and the amount of effort that you put into it will reflect your check. And I don't mean just posting on Facebook about what oil you use today, or sending out Facebook random invites where you're not following up with people, but I'm actually talking about like sitting down with someone and really talking about their health goals and what their needs are, and matching product to what their family needs, right? Having that income producing activity where you're doing things that result in income or volume. So that's where the majority of your time and effort should be focused. So if you only have 10 hours a week, make sure those 10 hours are in front of somebody and not just posting graphics on Facebook, right? All that busy work will distract you from getting to where you need to be. And then you want to show the people on your team how to do the same thing, right? And start duplicating what you're doing. So then the residual income Carrie talked about starts to come more naturally, right? So when I enrolled Carrie and we did a few classes together, Carrie's like, hey, I got this. So now I couldn't even, well, I can't tell you the last time we did a class together, but prior to that one, it was quite a while. It was a bit, right? So Carrie can go do classes and talk to people, enroll people without me. And that's the residual income, because I've taught her how to do it. We learned it together actually in the beginning, and I don't need to hold her hand anymore, right? So then I can go run with Sherry or run with Jessica or somebody else and teach them how to do what Carrie and I are doing. Does that make sense?
And the fun thing, I mean, there will become a time when you don't know everybody on your team. There are people on my team I've never met, don't know them, don't know where they came from, because someone else has a dream that they want to achieve or something that they're going for in their own life. And they introduce them to the business, but because they're in my network, they're part of my volume. So that's always exciting. It's to like, oh, I don't know this person. And then you get to reach out and touch them and say hello. And it's really cool.
It is kind of funny because today I got 2 emails from 2 people on my team that I had to go look up to see where they were, because I didn't know who they were, right? But they could contact me because of an email I sent out, or they can find me in the virtual office, so they can contact us. And that is fun, Carrie. I agree with that. But it's also fun having no income ceiling.
Yes.
So there's no limit to what you can earn. But again, remember, effort equals to what you're going to earn. So, but you can earn as little as much as you want. Like, those averages are averages. That means that people at those ranks are earning some are learning less, and some are earning a lot more than that income that's stated on that disclosure.
And you don't have to wait till your boss, leaves,
right.
to put it nicely, in order to get a promotion. You are not relying on anybody outside of yourself for your income. It is completely dependent on yourself and what you want to do in your own effort. No one can stop you, and I don't have to wait for Susan to move on before I can move to Diamond.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Cause you're not constrained by your sponsor's rank, right? Mm-hmm. I passed my sponsor, and I just talked to her the other day, and she's delighted at where I'm at and roots for me and supports me. And I always go, I challenge everybody to pass me. Please just pass me. I would love to have you guys do this for yourselves. Right. So you don't have to be limited by your sponsor's effort. Okay. So we also have what we call willable income, which in my family, this is really important. This is why one of the reasons why the income potential with Young Living actually turned me on, because Sahara's she's going to be an adult this year. Right. And if something were to happen to Jim and I want to make sure she's taken care of, and Emily too. So with Young Living, when we pass away, somebody has to take your position in the company. Right. And that can be a person. So you could assign someone to inherit your organization and they would get that income, or it could be a trust and you could split it among other people. So I know there's a couple RCDs who passed away and their income goes into a trust and it gets split up among their children or whoever they have designated as the heirs to that organization. And that is unheard of. Like, you don't get that. My husband's been working for the state for, 11 years. They're not going to will his income to me when he passes away, right? With Young Living, they do. Anything you want to add about that, Carrie?
Nope.
That's really cool. All right. So there's no inventory overhead. Everything you guys see us bring to a class, everything you see us talk about on Facebook is our products. Like, I don't have any inventory to sell anybody. People ask me that all the time. I'm like, nope. If you waited for me to ship it to you, you would never get it, because I hate the post office. Not joking.
I don't want to file sales tax.
Exactly. Exactly. So we teach people how to get their own account, how to set up their subscription and teach them how to do it, get them a EODR so they can do their own research and decide what products they want to get for their family. And it goes directly to their doorstep. They don't have to worry about me being a middleman. So, but again, Carrie talked a lot about the relationships already. The relationships are it's the icing on the cake. You guys know I'm yellow. I love hanging out with my team. I love the friendships that have developed through this business. And like every week I meet new friends and like people who are like-minded. So that's even better, right? Because we're around people who are getting it. They get the same vision with life that I have. And then you get to help people and care about them. And that's pretty cool. So I'm going to pause here because I wanted to say to Carrie, like, we were talking several years ago, because you guys know I'm yellow. I'm very much about the service oriented. I want to love on people and help people. And there was a point in my Young Living career where I was stuck and I was having a hard time merging that belief with the income potential, right? So I was stuck. I couldn't get my business to grow anymore because it was weird for me. It was awkward. And Carrie and I were coming out of the gym and we were having this conversation and she was like, Susan, can I ask you a question? I'm like, okay. And she's like, okay, so between you and I, who makes more money? And I'm like, well, I do, because I'm a higher rank. And she goes, okay, so who between you and I, who has helped more people? And I'm like, I have. And I'm like, oh, so the more people I help, the more money I can make. And then all of a sudden it just kind of merged together. And that in that moment, it became okay for me as someone who's in a place of service, that it's okay for me to make money, and it's okay for me to make a lot of money, because the more money I make, that means the more people that I've helped. And I just thank you, Carrie, for putting that into perspective for me, because it really was a huge hurdle for me, right? Because we think different.
Yeah. And that's one of the best part about the relationships with Young Living is you're going to be working with all kinds of people. But we don't all think alike. We all have different talents and different motivations and different ways of thinking and doing things. But there's always someone on your team that you can reach out to.
Right. And then let's go over just briefly how we can get paid. There are dozens of ways, but we really just wanted to focus on the very basics at first so you don't get overwhelmed. So the very first thing is start enrolling people. That's how you make money. And then get them on subscription, because that's how you make the residual income. And then you're going to teach them how to enroll and help other people get on the subscription as well. And that becomes like that's where your team starts to grow. It's really that simple. It really is. With the new platform, I just wanted to let you guys know though, that to become a brand partner, you do have to purchase a business essentials kit, which is in the virtual office. You can shop for that. You can look in your virtual office to see if you're already a brand partner. A lot of you got grandfathered in or are already actively building. So if you don't know if you're a brand partner or categorized as a customer, let me know and I can help you figure out how to look that up. So it's in the virtual office, but some of you who aren't as familiar with it might not be able to locate that. So we can teach you how to do that. So as a customer, you can still share and enroll people and help your friends get product in their homes. But in order to get commissions or bonuses, you have to be categorized as a brand partner. So if you're not a brand partner, you're going to have to get that kit. Okay. And then that ends up unlocking your 24% discount. So if you're a brand partner, you're on Essential Rewards, right? You're on the loyalty rewards program, the subscription. So every time you're on a subscription, you get that 24% off. You're going to teach your downline to do the same thing. There's other ways to get the discount, but in essence, just get people on subscription. That's like the easiest way to do it. When you enroll somebody, the first 3 months that they're a member, you get 25% of whatever they order. So easy math, they order $100, you get $25. It's Young Living's way of saying thank you for sharing with your friend, right? But that is for the first 3 months. If Carrie enrolled somebody, she would get that 24 or that 25%. But because I trained Carrie and I enrolled her, I get 10% of all of her brand new members indefinitely. So even now, I don't help her enroll people. She enrolls people on her own. But every time she does that, Young Living rewards me for having trained her years ago for helping her. I get that 10%. Once that 3 months for that new person is up, then you roll back to the 8%. Okay. So, and then it's 8% for life. It doesn't go down. That's Carrie. I'm pausing.
Yeah. That's really the nuts and bolts of it. Mm-hmm. You introduce people to the products, right. And you help them get enough products into their home that they can fall in love with them.
Right.
And that's really the key is, especially if people aren't used to using essential oils, just giving them an oil or two or having them purchase an oil or two. It took me probably, and I hate to admit this, probably 7 or 8 years before my first thought for a headache was lavender peppermint oil and not ibuprofen. I would be walking, and finally I put it right next to the ibuprofen because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can use this instead because we're programmed to go reach for that, what we've always used. So getting that to change over is just helping them choose products that they're going to be able to use. And after you've used them for a month or so, everybody loves these products. It's not a difficult sell once you can get it in their hands.
Right. And if you're watching this live with us next week, next Tuesday night, so we do Tuesday night classes for our team and trainings, is a ditch and switch class. So it's just exactly what Carrie's talking about. It's going to be about teaching people how to ditch the things that they're using that might have harsh chemicals or maybe not so healthy for us, and how to replace them with Young Living products. So it's going to be teaching that. So you guys can invite people to that, or you can get the replay because we'll record that one as well. But also in the Facebook group, we're doing a whole focus on ditching and switching this month, right? Because we want to teach you guys. We don't want you to be Carrie and wait 8 years to flip over to peppermint and lavender, right? We want to be able to teach you right up from the get-go how to start thinking outside of the box and with our oils. But the bottom line too is, sharing your story. You guys heard our business story today, right? Like this is where we were before Young Living started, and now we're here, right? The same thing with the products. Like and it doesn't have to be fantastic like my story. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be something as simple as neck tension or lack of focus, right? It could be something small. You just don't know who is looking for alternatives, or who's at the end of their rope and they don't have any other solutions. And you might be sitting on something that could absolutely change their life. And the only way that they would know about it is if you start sharing your stories.
Right. Well, and that being said, since we're talking about the business opportunity today, most people could avoid bankruptcy with an additional $300 a month.
Yep.
Most marriages are, divorces are caused by money struggles and conflict with money. So you've got the opportunity to help people financially as well as their health. If you just let them know that it's there, you're not, it's not your responsibility to make them pick it up. But if Susan hadn't told me about this business opportunity and she's now where she is and I was still where I was, I would not like Susan.
That's funny, but true.
So don't do that. Don't do that to people. Just let them know.
And I would say that there were a couple of people that jumped on the call today that was like, oh, I didn't know you're interested in the business. How about that? You know what I mean? Like, so like, you don't know if you don't know. So start having those conversations. Yeah. Okay. So what's required? We already went over the business essentials kit, right? You have to have that to be a brand partner. We feel, well, they changed it a little bit and I don't want to get too into this, but with this call, maybe later in this month when we do our second business call, we'll go further into this. But in essence, to get paid, you need 100 CV, which means customer volume, for the ranks of associate through executive. Okay. All that means is that your order plus the customers on your front line that you personally enroll, all of you together have to order at least 100 PV together. Or you could order the 100 by yourself, and I actually think that's better because when you start ordering product, you get product in your home and you can get your own experiences and stories, and then you can authentically share with others, right? Once you hit the ranks like Carrie and I at silver and up, you have to have that 100 PV on your own. So hopefully by silver, you're on the subscription, you got $100 in your cart at least every month. Most people at silver, in my experience, they hit the top tiers so they can get more product and share more product with people and get those freebies, because then their check allows them to be able to do that, right? That's what we mean by when we say get your oils for free. You're sharing enough where your commission check is enough to pay for this month's order. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you're being a product of the product. So your business isn't going to grow if you don't tell anybody about it. So just make sure that, you have Thieves hand soap at your sink. Make sure that, are putting your oils on and not
Right.
perfume. You know what I mean? And like telling people, you know, oh, I got a headache, and pulling out your oil and applying it so people can actually physically see you doing it. So you're actually, you know, walking the walk, and they're seeing that you're actually doing what you're saying that they should do.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is when you become a brand partner, you've got access to hundreds and hundreds of different products. So if you opened a store and sold, you know, shampoo and toothpaste and makeup and, you know, oils, would you walk across the street to Walmart and buy their toothpaste? No, you would not do that.
True.
So once you decide that you are going to do this as a business, you got to start thinking like a business person. And a business person would not go to Walmart if they've got the same products in their own store.
That's a good analogy. I love that. True. Okay. So if you are not on subscription yet, guys, join it. It's going to save you 24%. And really, like, it's the best deal with Young Living. They already, you know, you're already getting the 24% off, but then you can also get exclusive rewards and stuff with that. So make sure that you're on subscription. Make sure you're a brand partner. And then start sharing. It's kind of, we've already said this, right? But also make sure that you schedule time to invite people to classes, like come to our classes. Like we have Facebook classes. Carrie and I are doing live classes now. We have these Zooms that we do every Tuesday night. Like there is something that everybody can plug somebody into. You don't have to do it alone. If you don't know how to share, bring somebody to our intros and we will help you enroll them, and you will 100% get the enrollment. Like we won't take that from you. We will make sure they get to you. If you see an intro on the schedule and you can't come, but you have someone really interested, if you send them, let us know and we'll make sure that they get put underneath you too. So there's opportunities that we have available to you. But also if you have a group of friends that you want to get together and you want us to have a small get together with your friends in your house, at least those of you who are in Central Ohio, I will travel up to 3 hours. There you go. Most days. So, you know, we can schedule that as well.
Yep. And if you can do it better than us, and you probably can, you can go ahead and do your own classes as well.
Absolutely. True. All right. So we thank you for joining us. So if you are watching the recording, get back to the person who sent you the link.